In this video, I'd like to give us an overview of Bitmap image basics. First of all, I'd like to open a Bitmap image. You should have your images residing in your Documents folder somewhere or in your Pictures. Go under the File drop-down menu and select Open. You should navigate your computer system to find your picture. Here I have mine somewhere in my documents, buried deeply into several of my folders. So I'm going to select the image that I want. Okay, and in the window, you can see down here towards the bottom right, click Open. There it is. Alright, I'd like to show you a couple of things. Up at the top, in the tab area, is the name of the picture and also the percent that we are zoomed in. Second of all, and you notice that in the Layers panel, we always end up with at least one layer. To start with, there is always one layer. Okay, and I would like to take the opportunity to see what size is my picture. In terms of pixels, we go into the Image drop-down menu. Select Image Size. And we can see that this picture is 288 pixels by 445 pixels. You can also see it in terms of a different unit of measure. It's basically the same thing. Our resolution is 72 pixels per inch, which is ideal for screen viewing. I'm going to cancel this out. Alright, and what am I talking about when we're talking in terms of pixels? Well, let's zoom into the picture, and as we zoom in, we can see more and more like a little grid pattern. If we zoom in here, you might be seeing something of a grid. The default is to see this grid in Photoshop. And that's not a printable grid, but it's for our viewing and understanding of the pixel system. If you don't like the grid, turn it off by going under View, Show, and clicking back on the pixel grid. Okay. Now this shows pixels one after the other, side by side. And pixels, each of them have color information. Now if we go under the Image drop-down menu, I want you to notice something, our color mode. We'll select color mode, and there's two parts to the color mode. First of all, what is our color mode? We're working in RGB color, which most of the time we start off with. When you use a digital camera, it chooses RGB as your color model. That is for screens. It is the color of light. It's red, green, and blue, and there are variations of how much or the amount of each of those colors there is in the pixel to formulate a particular color. CMYK is for printing, and that's the color of pigment, and grayscale is, of course, getting rid of the color information and just using different values. So we can change amongst the modes. Most of the time we stick with RGB. You'll also notice that there's bits per channel. Most of the time we stick with 8 bits per channel, and the 16 and 32 bits per channel, well, that gives us a lot more color depth and more accuracy. Okay, let's zoom out. Command or Control 0 gets us to fit this in the window. Now I want to view another picture and show you the difference between how much it takes to get a little bit more detail in our picture, or hold the detail, because this one's a little bit fuzzy. And I want to show you the difference. File open. Got a medium-sized picture of the exact same thing. And if you can see here, I'm going to fit both in window. The first one we opened, a little bit soft in focus. The next one has a lot more pixels across. In fact, what size is it? Image size. 776 pixels across as opposed to 288. So there are a lot more pixels in this picture, and it allows us to see a lot more detail. All right, I want to show you one more, a very high resolution. And when you go to do an advertising campaign, you might be using the exact same image. However, we'll have different instances of that image, different format sizes. Okay, this last one here is high resolution. But you'll notice in the tabbed area, our level of zoom, in fact, let's go to this one and fit it in the window. Our level of zoom is different. Okay, so right now in the large one we're at 12.9%, whereas in the small picture it's zoomed in at 147. All right, I want you to see the difference between pictures when we have more pixels per inch and the detail that we can have. So we usually start off as large as we can possibly have, and then we make variations of that size. So this is actually the original picture. Now let's zoom in at 100%. I'm keeping my eye on the tabbed area. So this is 100% the size of that particular picture. So I could use it at poster size. Here's the medium-sized one. There it is at 100% viewing size. And here we have to go down in size to view this one. So difference between the different ones. Okay, this large one, I've got a lot of detail. Now, this one looked like it had quite a bit of detail, but let's zoom in so that it looks like we're zoomed into that broomstick, just like I am on this picture. And you can see that, yeah, I had some detail, but here's the difference between them. Okay, more pixels. Now, this is viewing it at 400%. Whereas this one, yeah, this is really quite bad. But for a website, this one is ideal. This one might be for printing something out on a desktop, a color printer, and this one is used for commercial purposes. Okay, last thing I want to show you is how to create a new image from scratch without any photographs. We can create a new canvas. Under File, choose New, and we can choose a document type. We can name the document, but I keep it at untitled because it means that I haven't saved this yet. I can choose to type in the width and the height and choose a unit of measure and a resolution. 72 pixels per inch is ideal for screen viewing. 150 pixels per inch is ideal resolution for desktop printers, color printers. 300 pixels per inch is more ideal for commercial printing purposes, like for magazines and posters and things of that nature. I'm going to keep this at 72. And the color mode, we get to change that or pick that. Currently, we are at RGB. And 8-bit depth is just fine. Our background, we can pick a white or a color background or transparent. I like to pick transparent because I want some empty pixels. And click OK. And here we are. I thought you said this was transparent. Well, to Photoshop users, this little gray and white pattern means that we're looking at no pixel information. In fact, this is the indicator that we have transparency. We do still have a layer, but it is actually empty. And if I choose a color, let's go down into the Tools panel towards the bottom where we have the little color pieces here. If we click on it, we get the color picker, and we can manipulate and choose a color. Of course, we can go back, we can go to the color swatches panel and also pick a color. Let's click OK and get a nice aqua blue color. And how do I get some paint or pixels onto this canvas? Well, I could use the brush tool, and you can use some experimentation with that. If you go in the options panel above and you look at changing the brush size and the hardness of it, we also have some different styles as well. You can experiment all that you want to. Hardness at 100% is a harder edge, whereas all the way down to 0, it's as if we are spray painting it. You can choose a different color or flip between the background and foreground color. Continue painting, change the brush size how I want to, whatever it is that I'd like to do. Okay, lastly, I'd like to save this picture, and how we do that is to go under the File drop-down menu, choose Save, and since this is the first time that I'm saving it, I do choose Save, Command or Control S. If I've already saved it and I want to save a new version of it, I choose Save As so that I can rename it. In this case, I'm going to save, and it brings up this pop-up window where we name the saved file. Okay, paint. Okay. And I'd like to save it amongst all of my examples, painting. I already did one earlier. Down below there is a format that we choose. Currently this is Photoshop native file format, which allows us to keep as much pixel information as possible without losing any detail or getting compression problems. You can save it as a JPEG. We'll take in another video, we'll talk about compression and some of the quality issues having to do with that. For now, I want it as a Photoshop native file. Please do not turn off the extension name. You need that on a picture. And go ahead and click Save, and we're done.